So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome for the class on smart materials and structures. So, now I think the screen is visible. So, first we will decide the topics for your seminars and then proceed with the case study on optical MEMS. So, as you are seeing here, the module 1 is about smart structures, module 2 is of shape memory alloys, what we have covered already. Third is of about vibration absorbers. Fourth, what we completed recently is on MEMS. And fifth is on devices. So, now let me start with Mr. Dhanush. Dhanush, are the modules visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, which module will be comfortable enough? So kindly let me know your option. Instead of me throwing the title, let me make it flexible for you guys. I'll note down the module and I can, after you tell me the topic, I can generalize it accordingly.
Can you go to the next slide, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, I'll go with third module, ma'am.
Vibration absorbers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what you want to do in this exactly?
Mainly, I would like to concentrate more on fiber optics, ma'am.
On fiber optics. I'm noting down, you won't be able to change again. Okay. So fiber optics, you need to correlate like for what, how you are interrelating that to our smart structures. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Its applications and what is the latest trend in current technology growing, how it is being used in industries and organization means you need to drag from basic fiber optic concepts, relate that to the smart structure, and finally how these fiber optics are used in any smart devices in any of the industries, a real time application. So right from the digging of the concept to an real time implication of this concept has to be shown and related. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will be putting the same title in your Google Classroom and sharing it via WhatsApp also. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next, Harsha.
Ma'am,
Yeah, yeah. Please let me know which topic, which module you will be comfortable.
ma'am, module 4, ma'am, miniaturization.
Module 4. What is that? It's not miniaturize. It is
I,
MEMS actually.
ma'am, total count.
In MEMS, what you want to focus on?
Mm,
Miniaturization.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
See, actually, if you want to tell only about miniaturization, you should first speak about MEMS, its
Okay,
concepts
ma'am.
basically, and
Mm.
why miniaturization is essential. What is the key features? What you have to focus in doing and miniaturization. I have explained you all the like scale of geometry and other parameters. So all these are the very basic steps what you have to follow to miniaturize an actual device into micro level. So everything related to the miniaturization concept you have to explain. First you need to speak about the importance of MEMS, relate that what are the steps you have to follow for miniaturization. Later you have to relate that to the specific application or the device which has been developed by using this miniaturization concepts. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
you have to relate to an real time MEMS device making by using the concepts of miniaturization. Done?
Okay, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, so I am putting MEMS related to miniaturization. The exact title I will be sharing you. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So Arsha is done, Danush is done. Danush, just do me a favor. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Those who haven't joined, kindly ping them up and let me see. I need to decide their topic also. Ask them to join immediately. Who is not there? Srinidhi is not there, right? And
Oh,
who
ma'am,
else?
Srinidhi was not there from the first class, ma'am. I think she's absent today.
Yeah, just put a message why like she has not joined.
Okay, ma'am.
And one more person, who is that? Sandesh.
He's also absent from mornings, ma'am. I'll convey him, ma'am.
Just convey both of them. I need the module at least where they want to work on. So before I finalize these three students, get me the update from those two. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Mohan Ambal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please let me know which is your
Ma'am, I'll go with module 2, shape memory.
module 2. Which is that? Okay. SMA. In shape memory, what do you want to do exactly? Shape memory alloy?
About the ER and MR fluids.
ER and MR fluids. Okay, related to your project work.
Yeah.
Okay. MR dampers. Shall I put the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you need to relate the importance of shape memory alloy. So how this ER and MR fluids plays a vital role for any device application. In the device application, you are focusing on MR dampers. So a real-time application for MR dampers in any industry or organization might be in abroad or India elsewhere where they have implemented already.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so key design features, if anything is available, that also could be shown.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this will be about your topic. I will just fine tune the title and share it either in Google Classroom or WhatsApp.
Yeah, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, Mithun. Mithun. Mithun Gowda. Yeah. Please let me know the area or which module you are convenient enough. Is it module 1, module 2? I'm showing you module 3, 4 and 5.
Module 1, ma'am.
Module 1. Okay, I'll go back. Okay, what in module 1?
Bernoulli Euler beam model.
Uh, 1 second. I have written Mohan Ambal name. Now yours is your name Mithun, na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you're telling about, can you repeat?
Bernoulli Euler model. Beam model.
Bernoulli, okay, beam model, you are going for Bernoulli 1. What you'll be doing in this?
Bernoulli's theorem. Beam
Okay,
theorem.
yeah, beam theorem, I understand. How you relate this to smart structures?
I don't know.
You can't tell, you don't know. What is the use of Bernoulli's Euler beam model, you tell me? What is the application of any beam model? Why we do basically? Mithun.
Yes, ma'am.
Only beam modeling you will explain and leave, that will not work. Some or the other way you should relate that to the smart structure. Why a Bernoulli Euler beam model is put into your smart structure. We studied the derivation part. I told the application of it, why it is being used, everything, long back, spent it like around 12 to 13 hours in module 1, if you remember. It's such a huge topic of around 175 slides in PPT 1, if I remember. And if you won't answer me when I ask the question, how will I feel like a teacher, you tell me? if you are going with Bernoulli-Euler model, you need to give the importance of Bernoulli-Euler beam model, why it is being used in smart structures. You need to correlate that with a real-time application. If you don't know, you have to search, you have to dig, and you have to do, and you have to present. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So your title will be on Bernoulli-Euler beam model for a smart structure application. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So even yours is now finalized. Now, Sukrut,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, Sukrut, what about you?
Ma'am, vibration observer.
You're going with vibration absorbers.
Yes, ma'am.
Module 3. In vibration absorbers, what exactly?
Ma'am, active vibration observer. That.
You're going with active vibration absorbers. Okay. Okay. This active vibration absorbers should be for some specific application. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you need to just provide a glimpse of like importance of vibration absorbers, why it has been used. If you have any class of active and passive vibration absorbers, you have to just show the differences and what is the application of using these vibration absorbers. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
In
In smart materials, ma'am.
yeah. In real-time application also you need to correlate. If you get any case studies where they have implemented already also, you can get the data from it and show like how they are being utilizing successfully this active based vibration absorbers in some of the applications.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so any topic you take, it should start from the dig of the material to that of its application level, and that application level should be focused with a real time one. Okay, so that shows your ability to understand, do the analysis, apply, and implement finally to which application. So you can go for like Bloom's taxonomy K5 and K6 level also. Okay. So your title is finalized, Sukrut. It's on vibration absorbers, active one for any application related to the industry or any organization approach. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Sukrut is done. Sandesh?
Yes,
Where were you, Sandesh, from the morning?
ma'am, I was doing internship. So,
Internship. Okay, you let me know. We were discussing about the seminar topics which will be presented on next Monday. So I have provided the flexibility for you guys to select the topic by your own. So I'm sharing all the modules for your reference. You kindly let me know which module, which topic will be compatible for you to present.
module 5, that
Module?
5.
Module 5. Devices, is it? Okay, what you want to do in this?
I talked about the sensors, actuators, and crystal.
You will speak about the sensors and actuators. Not Dhanush. Sandesh, see here, if you're speaking about sensors and actuators, you will be speaking about the importance of sensors and actuators, few slides, but you will not go in depth related to its properties, all those things. You have to speak with respect to device making. So, which are the things which are necessary to make a device? of sensor. It could be a sensor device, it could be an actuator device, it could be a micro sensor device approach, or it could be an actual sensor device approach. So right from the material selection to that of packaging plays a vital role. So we have plenty of sensors and plenty of actuators. We have studied all the classifications of sensors and actuators with respect to device point of view. So you can select any one device for sensor, any one device for actuator, go in depth right from selection of the material to development of a device. Okay.
Photolithography, I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Photolithography, I don't know. Etching, tracing.
Chan, your voice is not too audible. Can you tell me again?
Photolithography, ma'am.
You want to go for photolithography.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't want sensors and actuators. If you want to go with photolithography, then you will be explaining like how you make a MEMS device by photolithography process through photoresisting.
That and all, ma'am.
Yeah, photolithography is an pattern generation on the substrate. So you have to explain all the steps in fabricating a MEMS device. Suppose if you are making an MEMS cantilever beam, what are the procedure you follow right from selection of the substrate, adhesive layer, and then pattern making with the help of photoresist, yeah, negative photoresist, and how you etch out the remaining part, and how you do the packaging, and finally device making. Okay, so that you can refer for any micro cantilever or any other application. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
this is confirmed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm writing here for you MEMS device fabrication. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
by using photolithography.
Okay, ma'am.
Done.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there are other techniques also to make the device, what we have discussed in the class, in that you are focusing on photolithography.
Yes, ma'am.
I think now who is left out? Srinidhi? Yeah, where were you in the morning? Absent?
Outside, ma'am, so I couldn't attend the class.
Okay, you please let me know which is the comfortable topic for you.
Ma'am, I can do module 5 sensors and actuators and all, ma'am.
So the same thing what I explained for Mr. Sandesh.
Yes, ma'am, I can do.
Yeah, so it will be like sensors and actuator, not only sensor and actuator. So it is like sensor and actuator devices. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can select any one device for sensor, any one device for actuator. You will dig right from the selection of material to how a device is being developed, including packaging part. And you can relate that to an current industrial on real-time application as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think I have assigned the topic for all anyone who is missed out here. No, no? Fine. So I will just post the exact title for you people to present in next Monday in Google Classroom, and will share via WhatsApp also. Prepare accordingly and present well. So I guess if you focus on this, like around 50% of your syllabus is covered with respect to real-time applications. So now let us start with a case study which is pending from my end related to module 5. We have discussed the case study related to all the modules, right? So one more is pending which is related to our optical MEMS. So I will share now, 2 minutes. Is my screen visible, the PDF file?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, this is an research paper, right? So, which was published in 2011. It is on optical MEMS. In your module 5, you have like optical MEMS applications at the end after you study the devices on sensors and actuators. So theoretically, I explained you like what are the applications of MEMS in optical field. So this is like just a practical approach to the things related to optical MEMS. So this MEMS is not a new word. It has come right from 1989, right? So it is not a new concept, but related to the optical MEMS, you have to think about. Okay, so this MEMS technology was started like 7 years ago before this 1989 research on robotics workshop. So after 7 years before means it will be like nearly to a 1982. So in 1982, the first time the MEMS technology was into the world, and it was a new concept. And after 7 years of invention, there was a micro teleoperated robotics workshop. So in that, it showed a need for even optical based application for MEMS. Okay, so this is the way in which it led for optical innovations. And after this workshop, 20 years later, this MEMS technology fledged into many potential areas, right? And in 2003, as a breakthrough, most of the market studies were into the world of MEMS market, and they achieved like $8 billion was the GDP growth related to MEMS market in 2003, right? So this was a demand, like a new thing which was established, and it was at a saturation point with respect to the market level also. Then people realized the importance of MEMS, how that could be implemented in other fields as well. Okay, so in that, many of the techniques what they used were of optics and photonics. So this either the optics or photonics both comes into the optical way of MEMS application. So related to this, many researchers started publishing papers. They worked on micro-optical devices and their systems, and they tried to figure out some devices mainly for semiconductor industries. Okay, so why it was focused on semiconductor industry? Because they had a ability to provide a direct light effect with respect to the MEMS based optical applications. So as a result, a many good amount of publications were done, right? And many people showed that how good this optical MEMS could drive the market of MEMS technology. So there were many things which were going here and there for its good way of technology growth. So this paper basically summarizes the state of art of our optical MEMS technology. So this optical MEMS technology paper will describe what is a fabrication process which has been involved to make any optical based MEMS device. Okay, so here the mechanism plays a vital role. So they have also derived an actuation mechanism for optical MEMS device. Okay, so these are available commercially also now. Okay, and apart from that, you have the other two sections. So section 2 describes the only actuation mechanisms which are used in common in a MEMS device, wherein the section 3 discuss only about the regular applications of MEMS. So you have three sections. One is related to the how these actuation mechanisms are derived. So once these actuation mechanisms are derived, means once the fabrication process is established, it describes how these devices could be developed. And third section describes about the application parts of the MEMS devices. Okay, so with that aspect, we can see about the mechanisms of actuations as told in the first part. So when it comes to mechanism of actuations, we have studied this related to our actuators and also understanding the mechanisms involved in making the smart structures. Okay, so the same concept here has been focused for our optical MEMS. What are the mechanisms which are involved in optical based MEMS application? So here for that, in the paper, they have introduced different kinds of actuation mechanisms which are available. So what are its working principle, how it could be developed, and related to how it could be developed, how it could be correlated for specific applications. So that will be focused in the section 3. Because to make any optical MEMS, understanding the actuation mechanism is very much essential. And we have plenty of actuation mechanism. So one should be knowing which actuation mechanism has to be selected. To know that, one should be knowing the working principle. Again, it mainly depends upon the need for optical MEMS. Every optical MEMS cannot be used for the same application. Different versions of optical MEMS will be focused on different application. So you have to think which is the application you need. Based on that, you should be able to select which actuation mechanism is needed. To select, you should be knowing how this actuation mechanism works. For that, knowing the working principle is also very much essential. Okay, so in that aspect, they have provided you different mechanism. One is electrostatic actuations. Okay, so this is one of the actuation for optical MEMS. So what is the working principle of it is also being given. So in that you will be using an parallel plate actuator. So we have studied what is an actuator, whether it could be connected in series or parallel. If it is connected in series, how it works. If it is connected in parallel, how it works, right? So for the first kind of electrostatic actuation, we will be going with parallel plate actuators. So this is the need. Or else, suppose if you are not connecting in parallel and if you are going with electrostatic actuator blindly without knowing the working principle, will that work? No, you will end up with a problem. So you should be able to know the need or the requirement and the principle both parallelly. Okay. I'll just come back. The second type of mechanism in the, okay. I am not going in very much in depth with respect to equation and all. You should be just knowing in general. So under this mechanism of actuation, the first one is electrostatic actuation. In electrostatic actuation, they have used some torque equations. So it mainly depends upon the what is the applied voltage, which is the type of electrodes you are used, which is a fixed electrode, which is the movable electrode, and the actuator if you are using, what is the capacitance value of it. If you are rotating to any inclination, what is the rotation angle. If you are using any spring, what is the spring constant of it. So if you know all these parameters, you can correlate the torque equation. Okay, and if you want to determine the capacitance of this particular actuator, you should be knowing the relative permittivity value. Okay, and what is G? G is nothing but the gap which is associated with the fixed and the movable plate. So if you have two plates, one will be fixed and one will be movable. So the gap between these two plates will be nothing but G. The values varies with respect to the gap you have between the two electrodes. You cannot blindly fix up the gap between the electrodes. Okay, it should have a proper aspect ratio or else you won't get the required capacitance value. So everything will be interrelated. So that you have to know. So when we are speaking related to electrostatic actuators, it again depends upon two type. Okay, so first is based on parallel plate capacitance. Okay, so here you'll be having two plates which will be electrodes, in which one will be fixed and one will be moving, but both will be arranged in parallel. What is the second one? The second option is it is a combo drive capacitance. So you have both the types here. So one is a parallel plate capacitor, sorry, parallel plate actuator. Another one is the combo drive actuator. So both the things come under electrostatic actuator. So based on the requirement, you can select which is the needed. Okay. So you should be knowing why the gap between the electrode is needed. So if you have a gap for a parallel plate actuator, why it is needed? It because you need a function of rotating angle, and there is a trade-off as the initial gap spacing need. This you won't understand. Mainly we use this to get the required actuation voltage. Yeah, even here it is given. This gap is very much essential to know the reasonable actuation voltage. Okay, so if you vary the values of the gap, then you can identify how the actuation voltage is varying. So this you can understand if you operate the actuator in person. So this is the thing. And another type is the combo drive. So this is a vertical combo drive. So what you'll be having in this vertical combo drive? Okay, so this vertical combo drive will be having some advantage over this parallel one. The first one is the structure and the actuators are decoupled here. So you can see the structures of the actuators, it is decoupled. So you have two things which can be movable and fixed. It is a combo pack which is clamping against each other. It is not kept one above the other in parallel. So it will help in providing a combo pack wherein the structures of the actuators are decoupled. Secondly, the gap between the integrated fingers of the combo drive is typically quite small. In case of parallel, you can observe, where did it go? Yeah, so there is a specific gap in between the two electrodes. But when these two in a combo pack, even it comes and lie down, there will be a small difference. So this is the gap which is associated between the two plates. Okay, so here you can see that the gap associated with the fixed and the movable combo is very less in comparison to that of our previous parallel plate actuator. So this is the another advantage. Okay, and DRIE. So only one time DRIE is needed for combo drive, wherein in case of parallel plate capacitor, you need more. Okay, so more than one time. So that is the difference. So what is DRIE? I had explained you in MEMS chapter. Can anyone tell me what is DRIE? Be quick. I've explained so many times. Again, repeating only from my end is not good. You have to be interactive. Now all the modules are done. Be quick. At least I'll give you one hint. It is deep reactive ion etching. Why it is done? It is useful in MEMS device fabrication. Why?
For deep penetration.
Yeah, for deep penetration. Sometimes we see that we etch out only 25% of a substrate. But if you need an etching process to get the required pattern in deep depth, so then you have to go for DRIE process only, which is nothing but deep reactive ion etching. So it mainly depends upon what is your requirement. Okay, so in some case we do the etch out in the substrate level, and in some case we will do the etch out on above the substrate machine. So it depends upon whether you're doing bulk micro machining or you're doing surface micro machining. If we are doing surface micro machining process, then the etch out will happen at the sacrificial layer above the substrate. If it is a bulk micro machining, then etching out happens within the substrate. So this type of deep penetration etching out comes into picture in bulk micro machining with the help of DRIE. So this much you should be able to tell me. Is this clear? Hello. What's the use if you people don't answer? You tell me. So in this process, you need only one time DRIE. Okay, is needed for the combo drive thing. So this is the thing you have to understand. Okay, so this was for our combo drive option. Suppose one more thing what you have to understand is in case of vertical combo drive, what happens is it depends upon the plane configuration. Is it done only to work at resonant mode or in all modes of frequency? So that you also have to check in. Okay, so now they say that the researchers have also made an effort to realize the quasi-static rotation mode, which comes out in the vertical out of the plane combo drive using leverage structures. So this is just a reference done by some researcher. Just leave it. You just want to know the differences between parallel plate actuator and the combo drive actuator. So both the things come under the mechanism of electrostatic actuation. So similarly, you have some other mechanisms what you can go through. Okay, so you have like schematic of an in-plane configuration combo drive actuator. So this is also a combo drive actuator wherein you have figured out different cantilever beams as per the requirement in a single chip. Okay, so this is also a type of combo drive actuator which has been done. So this is in plane configuration, whereas it is an angular combo drive. So here you don't have any angular inclinations. Okay, so it is in plane. With respect to the plane of the given substrate, you are developing the pattern and you are etching out. And you are making many devices in a single stretch by using combo drive actuator mechanism. So usually this type of combo drive actuators are frequently used in fabricating MEMS device. So next type of mechanism is magnetic actuation. Okay, so they're just speaking about how the actuation works with the help of magnetic. So here the magnetic field is taken into the picture to perform the actuation work. This is just a schematic diagram and this is how the device looks like. So here you'll be having magnets, one north pole and south pole, and here in between you will be having a mirror, right? So how does it work? Basically, you will be having this entire thing will be the magnetic yoke, so that will be clamped to a metal base so that the magnetic field could be easily transmitted from one end to the other, as the metals are good conductors of magnetic field. Okay, so here you'll be having the electrodes at the back side. Okay, so at the electrode you will be having a driving coil which will be connected. So this will be connected with the help of lead wires, and the magnets what we use are of permanent magnets. And the other side you will be having a torsion bar. Okay, so apart from the torsion bar, you will be having a part of hinge here to hold this torsion bars. And to support, you have the fixed frames. So this and this are the fixed frames. So when it is made on, right, so the magnetic field will be generated. So you have a mirror, so which can help in reflecting back the field of light as well. right? So this helps in getting the required sensing with respect to the magnetic field and helping in forming the required actuation work. So if you go for a particular case study related to magnetic actuation, then you will come to know how the actuation process could be developed. For any actuator, you need an input device. It could be an electric field, a voltage, or any physical parameters like force or pressure, or even a magnetic field. Because we have studied actuator, what could be the input stimuli, for that what will be the result of work done. So based on the input what you are giving, that particular type of actuation you will come into picture. In this case, it is the magnetic actuation. But even this magnetic actuation is under the section of the first one, electrostatic actuation. Under the section of mechanism of actuations, magnetic actuation is the second one, electrostatic actuation is the first one. So we just dealt about these two. And if you view this under the SEM micrograph, you can see the miniature diagram. How does it look like? The morphology of the MEMS device. Okay, so this is how you observe and analyze the things. Just the SEM morphology of the magnetic actuator you can observe. So next part of the mechanism which has been dealt is of thermal actuation. So based on the thermal stimuli, the required actuation could be done. Again, it depends upon which is the biomorph structure you're using. So if you're going with the electrothermal biomorph structure, so then it helps to respond to the thermal changes. If you're not using the thermal based biomorph, and if you use a regular biomorph structure, so then it cannot provide the required actuation as per the requirement. So to get sensed and do the work properly, you should see that you are doing the corresponding actuation with respect to the right material. So this thing you have to understand. So then only it can induce the required thermal bending and generate the data as per the requirement. So this is very much essential what you have to understand. So later they have tried to just show the inclination of the angle using a biomorph. Okay, so these are experimental approach totally. Just understand the mechanisms. And next mechanism what they have told is about the piezoelectric actuation mechanism. So here, based on the polarized data what you are providing as an polarization field, so the required actuation mechanism will be done. So this type of actuation mechanism could be applied for both the MEMS and NEMS. So what is NEMS? MEMS is micro electromechanical system. NEMS is nano electromechanical system. Here the devices will be in nano size. In case of MEMS, it will be in micro size. So this could be either the sensors or the actuators made up of piezoelectric as a source material. So to check this piezoelectric actuation, usually we go with the devices made up of either PZT, which is lead zirconate titanate thin film, right? So if you develop a thin film of piezoelectric material, so then you can go for developing a micro actuator. So what does this micro actuator consist of? I have told already this micro actuators will consist of 4 components, right? So it consists of the unimorph of the piezoelectric element, and it will consist of the microelectronics, and it consists of smart structures. Everything, all components will be connected together to form a single device. Means 4 components: micro actuator, micro sensor, microcontroller, and micro electronics. Combination of all these 4 components will yield a single device, either at micro level or nano level. So this remains the same. What you have to understand, the same thing has been shown here. So here you can see that these are the legs. This is a stage platform, the backside one. Okay, so here you will be having a base plan, and you will be having an here cantilever, right? So which is under the bending segment, because at the tip you have a tip mass. Along with the tip mass you have a payload, right? So the payload will be applied over here, so that the tip mass will be subjected under the constraint, and due to this the flexible cantilever beam what you will be using will be in this shape. So above this you will be having a layer of piezoelectric material. So this is an unimorphier because you have a single layer of PZT patch. If you have two layers of PZT patch, then you can claim it to be as an biomorph. So this will be the arrangement for an this one piezoelectric based actuator, so that it can work as per the requirement. So you should be able to figure out which are the type of mechanisms which are there. So when anyone will ask you blindly to develop a microstructure, you should first think the principle. Oh, how does this micro actuator work? For that, what is the mechanism we should know? How this principle operates? So then you should check on these are all the available mechanism. One is the electrostatic mechanism, one is the piezoelectric based actuator mechanism, and another one is the magnetic based actuation mechanism, and fourth one is thermal based actuator mechanism. So based on different source you have different mechanism. So based on the required application you can select which one is more comfortable to you all. So this is the way what you have to understand. Are the things clear, or all the topics of actuation principles are clear enough? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So based on the mechanisms, the people have focused on few applications. So I told you that third section deals about the applications of these actuator mechanisms. So first one is display imaging and microscopy. So this was developed by Texas people, right? So they have made a digital micromirror device which is called as an DMD. So it was developed by Texas people very long before in 1977. So this DMD revolutionized a many type of systems dramatically. Okay, and it also reduced the cost. There was no huge cost investment, and also the performance was really empowered by using this DMD. Okay, so it just help the people instead of projecting something to directly go with LCD technology. So before 1977, there were no LCD technology at all. People used to go with traditional projector system, project what you want to display, right? So you should be having a OHP sheet, you write something on which, just keep it on a OHP operator, then you project and see this is what you need to present. Right, so now this is not the thing. Now everywhere you have the LCD technology with the help of digital micromirror device, so that you can easily put on what you want to present, and it looks very elegant also. So this is also an application of optical, because you're displaying the entire image only on the screen virtually, right? So you're not directly taking the printout and pasting or writing and taking the image of it. No, you're just, it is an optical mechanism, optical MEMS technology, wherein you're using this LCD phenomena right from 1977. So you should be great to it. So this is how this DMD works. They have just given the working phenomena of this DMD. Why I'm telling you? Because you have like optical MEMS application also. You can tell any application related to optical MEMS. So now you're aware enough from when this optical MEMS came into picture, which are the type of mechanisms which are involved depending upon different input stimuli. So you can select which one is the best as per your requirement. So once you are aware about the mechanism, you can focus on the application part. So first one is we dealt about the DMD. Next optical application related to the mechanisms what we studied is GLV display. So this GLV display is nothing but an diffractive spatial light modulator. So this GLV device switches on and off, and it can enhance the intensity of the light with the help of diffraction pattern. Okay, so you might have heard about X-ray diffraction also. So X-ray diffraction is the equipment which is used in research to identify the elements which are there in the material what you have synthesized, right, and do the peak analysis and all. In that also the same diffraction state will hold good. So where the electron come and bombard, it impinges and again gets reflected back. So even in that, the optical MEMS is the application area which plays a vital role. So this is one more product which is in use already, which is called as GLV display. So this also you should be familiar enough, which use the concept of diffraction of light. So it could be either incident light reflected or it could be either incident light diffracted. It could reflect. So this is totally reflected. So it is diffracted. The light is coming here, it is incidented, but it is diffracted into different directions. So it depends whether it is reflected back totally or it is diffracted. So depending on that, you have two devices under GLV. And apart from that, you have one more application related to microvision retinal display. Okay, sometimes it helps in correcting the retinal display. So for some people in medical application, right, if the display on the retina is not happening properly, so then they cannot identify the location of the person. Suppose a person is standing in front of you, right? If your retina is not capturing the image properly and reflecting back, you might see the same person standing somewhere in inclined position. Then it looks odd for you where to focus. But even though the person is standing in front of you, you may focus in some inclined position. That shows that the retinal display is not proper. The microvision capability of that retinal thing is not proper. So to overcome that, you can use a micro or nano device with the help of optical MEMS application. So this is the third application which has been shown. Okay, so here you'll be having a scan mirror, you'll be having vertical drive coils, and you'll be having an electrostatic drive plates. So the mechanism involved here is of electrostatic mechanism. So it will be a very small thing which could be embedded within the body. So these are like different applications what you can go through. And here you have a concept called tomography. So you can read, this is an exact optical way of either mirroring the image and going for tomography process. So you can go through it, you will understand what you mean exactly by an tomography. So whether the tomography results vary depending upon the lattice parameters of the given material or not also you can go through. So the main thing I have covered, which is nothing but the mechanisms which are involved in optical MEMS, and based on these mechanisms, what are the applications also related to your syllabus I have covered. So apart from that, if you want to gain more knowledge, you are always welcome and you can go through this tomography principle. Okay, so it also have some gist of MEMS. So if you go through it, you will come to know exactly how beautiful it is. Okay, so therein you speak about optical coherence tomography also, which is widely explained with respect to interferometer concept. If I remember, yes, you have a Michelson type interferometer mechanism. So you can go through it and understand what happens here basically. And they have taken the morphology of MEMS scanner as well for your understanding. So it is very well in-depth explained paper on optical MEMS. So aram se you can go through and grab the required data, prepare some notes for your reference and keep it ready. And apart from this, optical communication, you can have some 2D MEMS switches also. So based on that also some informations are given. So kindly go through this paper. It is a very lengthier one, but it is worth reading. So you have 3D MEMS switch and 2D MEMS switch also as a part of application. The main thing I have covered. So they have shown you how to configure a 3D optical switch also, right? So it helps you to get yourself ready to make the devices as well. It's a very good paper. So it will be the location of the MEMS device which is done based on the selected material. So we'll be having a substrate, we'll be having silicon oxide layer. So this adhesive layer will act as a sacrificer layer. So all the thing which are needed to etch out is been done, and then it is safeguarded by polyimide spaces. So this will act as an electrodes. So above that, for optical application, you will be having a mirror, which is metallized mirror. And to handle it safely, you should be having some handle. So here the wafer handles are given so that you can lift and keep wherever is been needed. So this was developed by Lucent Technologies. Okay, so this is just an application based at the end. So I've covered in brief related to optical MEMS application. Was the case study content clear enough? The importance of optical MEMS, its mechanism and applications?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So everyone, kindly do from today only the groundwork to see that you present well on next Monday. Any doubts associated, you can feel free to speak with me. So now everyone can type your name and USN in the chat room. I will just call the attendance by the time. Danush,
Yes, ma'am.
Mithun,
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me,
Mohan
ma'am.
Amber, yeah.
I would like to change
Yes,
my
ma'am.
topic, ma'am.
I'll
I
come
will be
back.
doing
Let me,
shape memory alloys.
just a second, let me complete the attendance. I'll come back.
Okay, ma'am.
Mithun,
Yes, ma'am.
Mohan Amber,
Yes, ma'am.
Sandesh,
Yes, ma'am.
Srinidhi. I think she's not there again, I guess. Is she there? Sukrut?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Harsha. Harsha?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now, yeah, Mithun,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
please. Okay, done. Mithun, you please tell me. You were about to tell me something related to the topic.
I would like to change my topic, ma'am. I would be doing it on shape memory alloys, ma'am.
Shape memory alloy, your friend Mohan Ambal is doing, no?
She is doing
On
on
MR,
EM
dampers. What you
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to do in shape memory alloy?
Shape memory effect and phase transformation.
Let me open the syllabus. Just give me 2 minutes. Syllabus. Is the syllabus visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Mithun? Yeah, now
Yes,
you
ma'am.
tell me. In shape memory alloy, what you want to do?
I will be doing the shape memory effect and phase transformation.
Shape memory effect and its transformation.
Yes, ma'am.
So I need to cancel Bernoulli-Euler beam model, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you want to go with shape memory. Repeat.
Shape memory effect and phase transformation.
Shape memory effect and phase transformation. So for this, what you have to do is, you need to first speak about what is the importance of shape memory alloy, how its effect can be done with a change in temperature from martensite to austenite. If you get any simulations, it's better to show the shape memory effect, right? And you should show how the phase transformation is taking place. Like you have a loop also to explain, similar to the hysteresis loop. You can put that, you can explain it. Only this will not work. You need to focus that for an actual application. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Where it has been already used in any of the industries or organization. It could be abroad, in other countries, or if anything related to this in India also, you can try to get the material. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, now it's the thing clear.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. And others have no problem in the title, no? This is confirmed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Done then. See you all tomorrow in second hour at 9:30 a.m. Until then, please take care. Have a nice day. Good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.